round quarterback dreamers.
My quarterback.
So these are going to be quarterbacks that you can draft in the later rounds that might be able to get you through the whole season, might be able to win you some weeks. Who wants to start us off?
I can start. I'm not sure if it's going to get you through the whole season, but I love his start. It's Sam Darnold. First game, revenge game, the Jets.
Ooh.
Okay, this is in Carolina. And then he is the Saints. It's kind of a down week. Okay. But Texans, Cowboys, Eagles, Vikings. And the Vikings defense might get better. If they don't, that is a great stretch. He has great weapons. He has CMC, DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson, Terrence Marshall, Dan Arnold is the tight end, Joe Brady. This is a setup to start the season hot. Also, big contract year. This could be his Josh Allen season if he plays this right.
Yeah, I feel you. You're not worried about him seeing any ghosts out on the field?
Well, not versus those defenses.
Yeah, I guess. You're right.
Yeah. So,
And I think it's week 8. I think they play the Patriots. The ghosts will come back. I'm not saying to play him that long, but that's first stretch. Again, Jets revenge game. Saints probably going to be a bad game, but it's at home at least. Texans, Cowboys, Eagles, Vikings. Those are some pretty good defense, or sorry, some pretty bad defenses, and could be some big games.
Yeah, well, true.
I really hope so, because I traded for him in this offseason in Dynasty. So I'm really kind of not relying on him because I have Herbert and Josh Allen, but still, like I traded for him, so I need him to pay off in sooner than later.
Yeah, and these are guys that we're saying draft as your second quarterback. These are guys that you could start, but don't rely on it, I don't think. I'll go next. I got Taysom Hill from the Saints. The quarterback position in New Orleans is still up in the air. Will it be Taysom? Will it be Jameis Winston? No one really knows yet. This injury to Michael Thomas with the surgery in June, he's going to miss some time. There's a lot of drama there. I really think that it leans towards Taysom just a little bit. So, yeah, if he starts the whole season, his rushing ability, he could easily win you fantasy leagues, not just fantasy weeks. So last year he had 87 attempts, 457 yards, and 8 rushing touchdowns. Sean Payton is going to make his life super easy as the quarterback too. He went 88 for 121, which is 72.7% completion percentage, which would have been highest in the NFL, but again, on a lot less attempts because that's how Sean Payton is going to run his offense. He also threw for 4 touchdowns. But if you really break down his season, the 2020 season, there were only 4 games that Taysom Hill played the full game at quarterback, over 37% of the snaps, which is not a lot. But in those 4 games, he went 82 for 114, 834 yards, 8 total touchdowns, had 39 rushing attempts for 209 yards, and was the QB6 in that stretch. So if he is the starter, his ceiling is very high. His floor also pretty high with the rushing ability. So he's currently going as the QB 24 towards the end of the 14th round. You can grab another quarterback early, like I was saying, and then roster Taysom, who has league-winning upside.
Yeah, I mean, he's we said he's like the Swiss Army, this knife of NFL quarterbacks, because he can do, I mean, basically everything. And if you use him right, which Sean Payton should and knows how to do, he can be an incredibly effective playmaker on that field, however you use him. So it's just, you can't get him in a rut where people figure out what he's doing. And that's my only concern for the entire season.
Yeah.
Otherwise, yeah.
That's true. That's a good point. But Sean Payton can figure it out, and Jameis Winston will play some because Taysom Hill will be able to run from the tight end position and stuff. And so get those extra snaps in for him. Keone, who you got for us?
Well, I have Baker Mayfield of the Cleveland Browns, because I think, he's not going to be your first quarterback, because I think it's just not enough there to trust him fully. Although I will have to say, I've talked a lot about him and his relationship with Odell Beckham and how he played better without Odell Beckham on the field, which is true. However, I will say correlation is not causation, and that's really important. So just
is that a
because,
real word, or did you make that up right now?
That's a real saying, even.
Yes,
Man,
that's a real thing.
That's pretty good.
Okay. Correlation is not causation. So just because the two things happened at the same time doesn't mean they're related, or directly related at least. So I do have to lighten my stance on the sort of hate I've given on Odell and hesitancy I've had.
I don't think so.
Baker.
I think you've been in the right.
Still be a little hesitant, because you never know. But I do have to say, just because Odell is going to be on the field doesn't mean Baker's going to do nearly as bad. They do. Some of the big things related to that probably were because COVID-19 was happening last year. So people didn't have a chance to get chemistry like they did. Whereas the latter part of the season, they would have had that chemistry. So I think that's a big thing where they've now had this time. So hopefully they can have the chemistry that they didn't have last year. But also, Ryan brought up matchups. I'll bring up matchups. He does have some tough defenses to face, in that he faces the Steelers and the Ravens twice each. So that's about 25% of his season. However, to counteract that, he faces the Bengals twice, Detroit and Houston. So there you go. That kind of balances out that. And then he gets a checkerboard of middle ranked defenses in between there. So there's room for them to go on a hot streak like they did last season, because if they get momentum, we can see what they do with it. And the only other thing that concerns me is the amount of yards he gets per game, because last season he had 7 games under 200 yards passing, and then 6 games over 250 yards passing. So he needs to kind of shift that to where he has more games, like one's better than the other. So he needs more yards. But I think he has a solid defense. He has a solid team around him in terms of wide receivers. He has Njoku. He has Hooper at tight end. He has Landry. He has Odell Beckham Jr. And then he probably has one of the best, if not the best, tandem in the backfield. So I think they can do pretty well. And he's a good second quarterback who can probably get you to the playoffs. I would say 7.5 out of 10 times. So that's why I say Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, not too bad. And again, these are all guys that you can get with one of the last picks in your draft. So yeah, I like it.
Hey you, check out some of these other cool videos we have, as well as subscribe and click that bell. It really helps our channel out. And don't forget to stay dreamin'.